Hello and welcome. My name is Lorrayne Ham, and this is Living Your Best Life, the channel for starseeds, lightworkers, and all who are seeking to know more. All right, if you haven't watched my last video about you being an ascended master, I suggest you go listen to that now because this is a follow-up to that video. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. All right, so we have determined we are ascended masters. Okay, so what does that mean? Because we mostly don't feel like ascended masters here. We've been plopped down here. You know, when I was a kid, I used to, my phrase that ran through my head was, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" Biblical terms, but gosh, I sure felt like I'd been plopped down here and somehow something went wrong. But as an ascended master, the example of Yahshua ben Joseph, Jesus, coming as an ascended master, he knew he was an ascended master. He operated as if he was an ascended master. And in the process of his life, many amazing things happened. So if we look at our lives from this bigger, grander, ascended master position, we would recognize the threads of brilliance, the threads of ascended mastery throughout our lives. Now, this place is a game, okay? It's a game. It's a place where we, as our ascended master, higher self, source self, said, hey, let's do something fun. Now, if we hadn't had the concept of victimhood, now, my statement as a kid, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" really was coming from this victimized position. I felt like, oh my God, how did I get here? And why are all these people behaving in this manner? So, some process happens as we come through the veil that creates within us a dynamic of victimhood. Now, as we wake up from this dynamic of victimhood, I'm not sure if that light is, no, it's better. I guess it's better than not. Although we need to make it different. It's a little too something. Little too intense. Let's change that. There we go. As we adjust and shift and change and learn and grow, essentially the awakening is us individually reawakening to the knowing that we are ascended masters. So how do you behave or interact with this 3D world as an ascended master? Well, first of all, you deprogram yourself from the victim stance. Now, we all default to victim. It is so prevalent in our world that we're always wanting to blame someone else for our circumstances. No one wants to say, wow, I created that really sucky thing, and gosh, I'm not liking it so much, so I gotta recreate something else. Okay, nobody looks at it from that standpoint. They did this. This is their fault. We do this with governments, cities, organizations, churches, the entire world. We look at it and we go, all these structures that we have created, we're victims to the structures. And as little ones, we grow up in these structures that were created before, and we feel we have no power against the structure, in opposition to the structure. So We're born into the structure. The structure is at fault. We are victims to the structure. But if we awaken to the idea that we are the power, we created the structure. Now, we as in a global we, the people, the collective of source here in the game. We created the structure. Why did we create the structure? Well, from a 3D perspective, it makes sense to have, the maze by which the players operate within, right? Makes sense, seems logical. But an ascended master being, an all-powerful creator, when it awakens to the knowledge of its power, it can break through the structure. I read a book once called, I believe, The Butterfly Effect. Now, we all think of the butterfly effect as, a butterfly flaps its wings here and there's a tsunami somewhere else, okay? This was different than that. It really brought forth the concept of the game that we're all playing in. As if, and one of the images that it created within this story is that we are all sitting in a giant theater, mesmerized by the play going on in front of us. Now, we can all relate to that. We are addicted to the drama external of us. The power in this game lies within us. The power to experience the game on a different level lies within. There's nothing external of the within self. So in this analogy, this book, he talked about people waking up and choosing to exit the theater. And the imagery was people, a lot of people went to the back of the theater and sort of were milling around because they weren't sure they were completely ready to disengage. They weren't really paying attention. And this is where most people are, in the back of the theater, sort of halfway paying attention to what's the drama and still not quite ready to commit to the idea that they are so powerful they can exit the game. So when I read that book, I went, yeah, that's exactly what's happening, and I exited the game. I exited the game. I reached that doorknob and I pulled that door open and I ran out. Because once you do that, once you make the decision to exit the game, you can't unknow. You can't unknow that you are a powerful master of the universe. You cannot unknow that once you know it. And you can play games in your mind and think, okay, I'm gonna go back into the theater and I'm gonna fully immerse. But you can't ever do that because you cannot unknow the truth of yourself. You cannot unknow that. You are a master. You are an ascended master. There's no ascension happening here. There's just awakening to the truth of who you are. So, how do we operate as ascended masters in the 3D game? How do we do that? How do we say, okay, I'm here, I'm an ascended master? First of all, an ascended master does not impose on anyone else. We recognize everyone is an ascended master, and everyone is choosing their own experience. We may not like what they're choosing, we may not appreciate what they're choosing, but we are all extensions of the divine, fractals of source. We are all one. So that individual over there that is doing something that you find abhorrent or just plain judged stupid is actually contributing to the whole. They are contributing to the knowledge and experience of the whole. We, Source, are crazy, creative, curious, fun-loving beings. We created this for fun. Now, how do you know when you're in a drama and you're not having fun? You're thinking you're not having fun. But if you could pull yourself up and out of that drama and look at it from the Ascended Master Source perspective, you would look at that and you would think, oh my gosh, that is the most hysterical thing I've ever seen. This Ascended Master believes that they're a victim and they're totally immersed in it. That's funny, okay? Now, that isn't to say that we aren't compassionate, but an Ascended Master never allows themselves to be completely embroiled in the game. If you're embroiled in the game, you are totally hooked on the drama. You are sitting in that theater, staring at that screen, and catatonic. An Ascended Master says, okay, this is a game. I'm the creator. How do I want this to play out? How do I want to experience? Now, we are still, most of us, well, all of us that are still here in the game, in this matrix, we're still in the veil of forgetfulness. But for us who have recognized and become aware, have awakened, we have the veil thinning. It's beginning to drop away. So we have glimpses of potentiality. And let's face it, to the depths of our despair, or to the heights of our exhilaration. So this idea of duality, good, bad, right, wrong, all of that we created to understand the polarity, to understand more of ourselves. Everything we do here is to discover more of ourselves, more of our potentiality. So as an Ascended Master, observing what is happening here, we step back. We learn to cut the cords of emotionality. Emotionality, not good. Emotionality means that you go into a situation so much that you lose yourself. You get lost in it. Never good. Never good. You get so overtaken by the emotion that you are non-thinking and non-functioning. So here's a mechanism in the human physiology, psyche, whatever. If you are in emotionality, you actually sever your connection to Source. You cannot function from a broader perspective. You get lost. You're severing, or, well, you never sever your connection to Source, but you are cutting off your access to your Source connection. That would be accurate. And you are also cutting off your access to your thinking mind. Now, humans are powerful in that what we can do is, through the power of our mind, actually create an alternate new reality. This is why we have been so shoved down by the control matrix. Because if we remembered that we are the power, we're the ones creating the dream, and by being catatonic and staring at the screen, we're just recreating the same stuff. If we remembered that we're the power, we're the creator, we are the master of the universe, we would begin to use the power of our mind to see an alternate potentiality, to actually create the structure. Because everything is energy, everything is an illusion, a projection of the mind. If you go into emotionality, you do not have this function. An ascended master is always aware of their creative potential. So much of this matrix structure has been so infiltrated with the idea that you need to, with all sorts of things that would put you in emotionality and cause you to turn off your ability to access your creative power. So I encourage you, as the ascended master that you are, and we'll be doing more videos on operating within the field as an ascended master. I encourage you to begin to recognize that emotionality does not serve you. Don't allow your power center to be triggering you into an emotional overload. Now, detachment is key. How do you detach? You recognize, as an ascended master, you come above the situation. You don't get yourself embroiled in all the stuff. You learn and you go, okay, I'm being triggered. This is triggering me. So you step back from it. You begin to essentially wean yourself off of the drama. I encourage you to do that in this next few days. Practice with weaning yourself off of the drama. Meaning, if you know something causes you to get all emotional, step back. Don't do it. Don't watch it. Don't engage. Don't participate. Don't hang out with those people. Just don't. It's okay. And if you have to live with one of those people, just in your mind say, that's a drama. I'm not engaging. Okay? You can step back even if you're living right in the same environment with drama queens. I happen to live in the, my husband is a drama queen to the max. He's getting better, though. He's had to hang out with me, and I just don't put up with it anymore. I just tell him he's being a drama queen, and I walk away. Now, you may have to wean them off of their addiction to you and your reaction. Just a thing. All right. I hope this helps. I hope that you remember you are an ascended master playing a game. Until next time, my name is Lorraine.